the past few years, I've slowly watched dementia take bits and pieces of my healthy hero, my mama, to some faraway place. What started with a story she would retell within an hour of conversation has now progressed to her asking the same question every 5 minutes. In denial the first year, I told myself it was just the typical memory loss that comes with aging. However, last Christmas, I was stunned when I noticed she would hardly say a word during dinner conversations. The tone in her voice seemed different, and her smile appeared reflexive. All I could see was this shell of a person that used to be my grandmother. I stared into her eyes and wondered where she had gone. She was sitting right in front of me, and yet I didn't even recognize her. Not knowing what to do or say or even how to act around her, I put up a wall to protect myself from the sting. After spending a lifetime of confiding in her about everything and finding solace in her words, I suddenly found it difficult to talk to her. I no longer knew what to talk about. Our conversations were short, and I wasn't sure how to adapt, really, to the changing roles of our relationship. She had always been my comforter, my consoler, my biggest supporter. How on earth do I let go of needing that from her? How do I begin to understand what she might need from me?
From giving out, I want a storm to blow it out. I want to shake myself and turn my heart inside out.
Resolution came in May, with the dread of confronting the angst in my stomach. My family sat around the table eating and sharing stories of our lives since we were together last Christmas. Suddenly, my grandmother cracked a joke. I can't even remember what she said, but it wasn't a question or a repeated story or even a statement. It was her own original thought on the current conversation. Not only was it her thought, but it was said with her humor. It was exactly the thing I would have heard her say a few years ago. In that moment, I saw her genuine smile and heard her authentic laugh. I caught a glimpse of the person I had always known and had missed so much over the past few years, all in her eyes. I realized she was still here in that shell. I had been so foolish to put up that wall and push her away because I couldn't figure out how to deal with the changing situation. Confronting this situation head-on while my uncle was out of town, I agreed to stay and take care of my grandmother so her routine wouldn't be disrupted. I wasn't sure how to prepare myself for an entire week, but I took a deep breath, packed my patience, and the old favorite card game since that's how we always connected when I was a kid, and off I went. I was prepared for telling her multiple times a day, yes, we already went to the store, or we cashed your check yesterday, remember? What I wasn't prepared for was her nightly routine of obsessing over whether or not she took her pills. I would say goodnight, and within 10 minutes, she would be up with a flashlight in the kitchen to check her pill box for that day. This would go on every 10 minutes for up to an hour or two every night. She couldn't get her mind to shut down and go to sleep. It truly was just heartbreaking.
This is what you once were like. Where is it you've gone? How can I find you? Where is it you've gone?
After several days of playing Skip-Bo, I was bored with the game and bored with constantly restating the rules. I rummaged through her games to find something new. Lo and behold, there was the same deck of Uno cards we played with every afternoon in the summer when I was about 8 years old. Uno being a bit more complicated, I laid out all the wild cards, reverses, and skips on the table for her to reference visually as we played. I was expecting 5 games of continuous questions before having one smooth game. What happened in the first game blew me away. Throwing down draw 2s and draw 4s, changing the colors left and right, with the card of the same number, I'm not even sure I explained that was possible in my rule review session. And calling me out on my Uno as the second to last card left my hand, I sat with more cards I could hold in my hand as she went out and won the game. Game after game after game. I couldn't believe it. The competitor in me could care less. Tickled to pieces. I felt as though I was 8 years old again, sitting on her back porch, listening to her scoff when I intercepted her win with a color change, and her cackle when she intercepted my win with a draw 4. She never once referenced the cards I had laid out. She never once asked me how many cards she needed to draw. She knew. She remembered.
You were Uno
Card shark.
You were Uno card shark.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you told me you didn't remember how to play this game. I think you were fibbing.
You think I was?
Yeah.
Well, it's just kind of coming back to me, you know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
With almost every game she won, she would look over at me with her smile and give a wink. I seized the moment. I started the conversation, "Do you remember when?" What an afternoon of laughter and memories I had with my 89-year-old grandmother. Who knew something as simple as connecting over an old favorite card game with a smile and a wink is precisely what we both needed. Sure, there were a few aggravating moments that week, as well as a few emotional moments, but it was certainly time well spent. I learned to walk a little slower, speak a little sweeter, and make the most of every minute we have. She may not remember everything, and she may not even remember some of the precious moments we shared that afternoon, but I will, and that's all that matters to me.
I will spend eternity